All right, guys, thanks so much for joining me today. We are going to have lots of fun today. We're going to chat about a lot of the questions that we had come up this weekend in my Smooth Skin Supply Wax Chat group. So if you're not in that group, this is the call tag. You can actually go ahead and join us. We have lots of conversations. We're going to go over basically what we had talked about over the weekend. Maybe interesting conversations, questions about everything. And it wasn't just waxing. We did skincare, we did waxing, we did hair removal with ingrowns and dealing with that. But let's go over a lot of the homework that we have today. Yeah. So the Mastermind Skincare course starts June 1st, and we are in late bird. Early bird ended May 1st, so it will start on June 1st. Skincare Mastermind, we go over marketing, we go over how to perfect your menu, how to market to your people, all of that good stuff. We also will be at the Dallas show this upcoming weekend, Sunday and Monday. Can't remember my booth right now. It's not on the top of my head. And we will have a 7-minute Brazilian class on Monday. So that's exciting. Our store in Dallas will open and have our grand opening the first weekend of June, which is June, I want to say 6th. 7th, Sunday. We are open Sundays. It will be Sunday, June 5th. We will have our grand opening, and that's 9 to 5. You'll be seeing some information coming out very soon about grand opening and joining us and all that good stuff. So let's see. We went over and then boot camp. Sorry, I have another June boot camp registration. Thank you. Yeah, we got all those permits, honey. Damn permits and inspections and all that good stuff. But anyway, so we're all done. Let's chat about a lot of the questions that we had in the group. We had a lot of great conversation over the weekend. And again, if you're not a part of my group, we really talk about everything under the sun and not just wax. We focus on wax, hair removal, say Brazil, but I really like to discuss a lot of stuff about, you know, and you'll make sure it's all clean. Oh, thanks, baby, for jumping on. Thank you, love. So let's start off with the one that had the most controversy. And that one was, I think it was a tie. I think it was between when do you wax and when do you do a facial in the same service. And the other one was peels. So let's do peels first. Let's talk about peels first. So I asked a simple question about micro peels. And if you're offering that in a same service, do you micro, then do your chemical with your peels, or do you do the peel first and then you offer microdermabrasion second? And the reason I asked this question is because a lot of us, in my opinion, don't understand the levels of exfoliation, right? We also don't understand the mechanical chemical togetherness. And then the other part of it is what are we trying to achieve, which is what Angela talked about a lot too, is what are we trying to achieve when we do microdermabrasions and we do peels. So a lot of the responses were based off of what we were taught in school, but I think a lot of us don't know the differences between exfoliation. So obviously we have different types of microdermabrasion, right? We have our aluminum crystal, we have our diamond tip. I like to do the water-based, which is more of like the skin scrubber dermasound. That's more of my favorite thing to do for mechanical exfoliation. And then we have our levels of chemical exfoliation, which I talk about all the time. Enzymes, alpha hydroxy, beta hydroxy, and then true chemical peels, which is more of your Jesners. So typically, when you start talking about this level of exfoliation, these are not on clients that are just walking in off of the street. You got to work your way up to this kind of exfoliation. It doesn't happen in the first, second, or even third treatment. But a lot of us don't understand the importance of understanding is the skin prepared for this kind of level of exfoliation. The whole premise of peels has gotten completely out of control. The whole understanding of peels is not as serious as we should take it because a lot of us just don't know. We don't know what, and here we go, block party starting. We don't really know how to explain to our clients the importance of both types of exfoliation, but we also are not preparing our client's skin for the best results when we do both of those combinations. I loved when I was researching for what kind of machine I was going to get, I loved understanding the differences in manual exfoliation. I'm not a big fan of scrubs. I never have been a fan of scrubs, ever. But I wanted a machine that was going to be, I would say, skin type friendly. So it didn't matter what kind of skin type it was going to be used on. I wasn't going to have to worry about hyperpigmentation, and I wasn't going to have to worry about any kind of damage to sensitized rosacea based skin. I wanted a machine that was going to allow me to do every skin type possible. Second part to it is that when you start talking about this kind of aggressive, because micro peels are aggressive. So when I asked this question, I wanted to see responses from people who understood that this is not a treatment that you do on everybody's skin. And also, I didn't hear really anyone saying anything about preparing to do this type of treatment. So this question that I asked was completely an open-ended question. I wanted to see what people's responses were going to be, because I even said, explain your answer. I also wanted to see how many estheticians really understood my question, because when we start talking about any kind of chemical, whether it's an enzyme, whether it's an alpha, beta, hydroxy, any of those things, you have to know the purpose of them. And I think a lot of us don't understand our purpose. And the reason I can say this is because I ask this question in every class I do, whether it's at a show, whether it's at my distributors, or whether a class I'm having. I always ask the question, what is the difference between an alpha hydroxy and a beta hydroxy? And I will tell you 20%, maybe even 10 will know the difference. The 80 and 90% of estheticians in the class have no clue. They don't understand. All they know is it's exfoliation. They don't understand the reason alpha and beta are completely two different types of exfoliation. So, absolutely, Angela. Yes. What does it do in the skin? And that's something, when you start talking about adding chemicals for exfoliation, you got to understand what they do in the skin. And alpha has a very different job title and purpose than beta. But a lot of us don't know. So when I take it a step back and I say, okay, so why would you use a lactic peel over a salicylic peel? And then you get, well, I think they both exfoliate. And exactly, Angela has it because she be standing next to me. We're both looking like, how is it that we have such powerful and effective tools right in our fingertips, but we have no idea why they do what they do or how they do what they do? We would rather be told in what progression we should use it in and not understand the true reason why this is effective and this is not effective. I always admit that my education is very different than a lot of estheticians' education. I've admitted that many times. Absolutely. Angela already knows. Everyone asks, do I have a protocol? But with my education, people either accept it or they don't. And I'm a fan of research what exactly you think you know. Research it to see if you're right or you're wrong. Don't go based off of what someone in a group said. Don't go based off of what someone told you. Don't even go based off of what your teacher told you. Because in our group, we're having a big conversation about teachers waxing students on Accutane. Or teachers, telling people that, don't get me started on teachers today. We're going to leave teachers alone. But research what you speak of about that. You were taught a brick and mortar concept to learn the difference. L. Curry, explain that a little bit more. I need you to elaborate on that. Don't confuse your aesthetics license with your Google search. Got that right. Yes, praise the Lord. Amen. And knowledge is power. So I'm a big fan of, I like to see when people research it and come back and say, you know what? This is the reason why I would do this. Instead of a skincare company telling you, or instead of someone else saying this is what you should do, but you actually knowing this is exactly what I want. So in this question, I asked it on deliberately because I wanted to have an open-ended conversation. I wanted people to talk about the aggressiveness of a microdermabrasion and peel in one treatment. And you said the more you listen to me, the more you question your education. Part of it is that I like to continue to learn, but I always take my basics. Like I always go back to the basic. And I've said this in many periscopes. No matter what company makes a glycolic or lactic or salicylic peel, the principles of it will always be the same. The way you use it will always be the same. You have different percentages, you have different pHs, but the principle and definition of that peel or that purpose of that chemical will never change. But a lot of us get bamboozled by the glitz and the glam and the diamonds and the shininess of different companies. We get, wowed about certain things. Some schools have protocols and accepted instructor to go deeper in student to actually study. I wouldn't even say that. I'm not even going to blame the schools, because I think part of the problem is that we fail to understand schools are here to get you to pass state board. Schools are not there to educate you. And the minute you understand that, the minute a lot of us will say, okay, it's up to me to really continue my education, because we can't put the blame on school forever. I've been out of school for 13, 14, 15 years. I can't go back and still blame my school 15, 16, 17 years later saying I didn't get taught that. Nope, can't do that. The whole understanding and purpose of schools is to get you to pass state board. That's it. State board will never go in depth. State board is from 30 and 40 years ago. So they're not even on microdermabrasion. Why do you think in state boards we never get tested on microdermabrasion? You ever thought about that? Because they're 30 and 40 years ago. So if you understand that, then you wouldn't use the school as an excuse. Because part of it is, too, is that when you get postgraduate and you start really understanding what postgraduate is all about training and education. And that's what it is. But we get so stuck because we think, and you know why I can say this is because I went to college. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in kinesiology. I did Bachelor of Science. So I went there too. I didn't come out of college with the training to get a job. That's why they have on-the-job training. But we get it confused. We expect to come from school and know how to work or know how to be in our profession. That's not how it works. Ever. No matter what the profession is. The only profession that they allow you to do that and they allow you to mess up is when you intern. And that's higher professionals, doctors, dentists, all of that. Because they work you for free. And then, again, that's on-the-job training. So if you really put in perspective what exactly that's about, you just found a very simplistic but detailed explanation of the difference between BHA and AHA. Loyalty, Lord, have mercy. Good for you. Good for you. So when I come back and I start talking about it, and I ask these questions, you said too much to learn in a short amount of time. Aesthetic school is only 7 to 8 months. It's not there. They're not there to teach you how to be an esthetician. All they're there to do is teach you how to pass state board and not get your license taken away. That's it. You get the bare minimum. You get just the top. Not a whole lot of information. My education, I'm so thankful for because I got more than that. So when I was going to school, I was able to go to different places and still have all that count. But both of my instructors were Sedesco trained. So, and they were not from the U.S. So that's the other thing. Outside the U.S., it's 2, 3, 4 years of education and training before you can even touch skin. So I got to have that kind of education. So that's why I say I'm not like normal estheticians. I don't think like normal estheticians, because a lot of the estheticians that I come across don't think, they've been told. So, and as an instructor, you would go deeper if permitted, but at the same time, as an instructor, your job is not to go deeper. Your job is to prepare them to pass state board. Your job is to work for the school and have a high pass rate. That's the game. So I get a lot of estheticians that are coming to me all the time. Send me messages, send me emails, say all the time. I didn't get taught this in school. Okay, so what are you doing about it? Can you teach yourself now? Are you going to shows? Are you going to classes? What exactly are you doing? Because if you can come to me and you're already postgraduate and you're coming to me saying, oh, I didn't get taught that, then I need you to go out and I need you to research it yourself. Those protocols really only apply to whatever products the school uses. And it ain't even that. Everybody. I could probably count. I can't even count. Angela's been there too. Because so many people ask for protocols. And protocols, the only time I truly will use and have ever used protocols is really when I'm doing Jesners, to be honest. You have to want to learn. So back to our question, and the reason why this is so important is because a lot of us don't know and understand exfoliation. Angela is a great class on exfoliation. I don't know when her class is coming up, but she has a great one on peels and the understanding going from enzymes all the way to Jesner peels. You know, we talked about, Angela talked about last week or the week before about grammage. There's a lot of people that don't understand what grammage is. There's a lot of things that we are really just not understanding. But I think part of it is that when we come out of school, we have that expectation that we know everything and that there is nothing else to learn, not realizing that no skin type on any person is the same as the next. We're taught in skin types. Absolutely. You need to understand the product dyes on or in the skin. Absolutely. A lot of us don't understand that even when you have skin types, even when you have Fitzpatrick levels, even when you have all of these things, not everyone's skin is the same. I've been a fan of that from the very beginning. When I first started my first job, I always said, I cannot put every client that I see in a box because every client is different. So me looking at a protocol and saying, oh, I'm going to, do a skin analysis and she has dry combination skin, so I know exactly what treatment to do. That's not how skincare is. However, skincare companies have come along now and said, okay, I'm going to give you a box for your dry skin clients. I'm going to give you a box for your anti-aging. I'm going to give you a box for acne, and I'm going to give you a box for hyperpigmentation. Pick what this follows for your client and put that client in the box. That's not skincare. And that's really what has happened in our industry, and it's been happening for a long time. So this is nothing new. I like to push estheticians to get outside of that box and think, okay, here's skin presented to me. Here is the skin condition. Would be the best treatment for this client. Not clients that are, just coming in, I'm going to put them in the box. It doesn't work like that. And the reason I got on my tangent this weekend was because I really wanted to see exactly how we think. What are we thinking about when we think about these questions? So let's go on to the next one, which caught a lot of people responding to. And of course, that one was, what was it? Facials and waxing in the same service. You love my tangents. Some people love them, some people don't. Some people, they want to, be popping off and then be, whatever. We talked about this question. This question was just basic. When you have a wax and facial in the same service, do you wax them first and then give them the facial? Or do you give them the facial and then wax them? I said, please explain your answer. This question did not have a right or a wrong answer. But I was looking for, and I actually did not respond on this, but I was looking for people to say, based off of skin condition, this would be the best treatment or best option for these clients. Everyone had it up front. Oh, I'm going to do a facial and then I'm going to wax. Or, oh, I'm going to wax first and then do the facial to calm it down. This could go really either way. But again, it's based off of the skin condition. Because here's the thing. I would rather... can you do both on the same day? Yeah, actually you can. Depends on the skin condition. Because if I have someone who's super, super dehydrated and I wax them, I would rather do their wax first than give them a facial to hydrate the skin. Or I could actually do the facial and hydrate the skin and then wax them too. So there really is no right or wrong answer to that. But I did want to see someone say based off of skin condition. So you can't tell them until they're on your table. No, I don't typically do for like first time clients. No. But see, a lot of us don't do skin consultations on our clients either. I'm a big fan of always doing consultations when I first see you. I got to see exactly what I'm working with. I got to see what your makeup types are. I got to see what kind of habits you have. Do you wash your face every day? Do you wash your face every night? How do you wash your hair? Do you wash your hair in a sink? Do you wash your hair in a shower? Do you use a body scrub, a loofah, or do you use a towel? All of these things come into play when you start asking these questions in your consultation. So if I was going to go, and I'll never do first time wax and facial the first time. No, because I don't know what their skin is. I don't know. I'd rather do a facial first, get everything off, do a skin analysis, see exactly what's going on in their skin. And then when they rebook, I don't mind doing a facial and wax, depending on their skin type. I will do that. But there really was no right or wrong answer to that one either. But I did want to see someone say based off of the client's skin type. Nobody said it. Nobody said it. What's the other one that got a lot of picking ingrown client, picking your client's ingrowns. And I should have asked in this question, and I said, please explain your answer, but I really should ask, do you know the difference between an ingrown and a razor bump? Because I'm finding that a lot of estheticians do not know what razor bumps are. And the sad thing about it is that the razor bumps have nothing to do with the hair being inside it. And estheticians will pick razor bumps thinking it's an ingrown. So the questions on here got very interested because some people do pick their ingrowns. Picking means taking a tweezer, needle nose, straight layers, doesn't matter, pulling the hair out of the follicle itself. Or digging in to find it. If it's very, just sitting right on the top and it's only a couple layers, they can see it, they'll dig through, pull it out. I am a fan of not picking ingrowns ever. If it's sitting right at the top and I can see it, I'll take my fingers and push it out. Absolutely. But am I going to dig into? No, not going to do that. Am I going to take some needle nose pliers, go in? Nope. Am I going to take a needle? Nope. Not going to do any of that. I'm not damaging healthy skin to get to an ingrown. And that's what a lot of us are doing. You're damaging healthy skin. Because here's the thing. Once skin is damaged, it becomes scar tissue. And if you understand scar tissue does not change. It will always be thick. It will never change. And the problem with a lot of us who pick our clients' ingrowns, you're causing more damage than you're causing good. Instead of picking it, how come we are not educating our clients on proper home care or anything? You only extract the ones that are blackheads. You only use tweezers once the gunk comes up. Cell memory. Thank you, Angela. Absolutely. But a lot of us don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that, when you go into your client's skin and you're picking that hair, that you're causing damage. Because we really are. Even when it comes to ingrowns that are repeat ingrowns in the same thing. If you have a client that's having repeat ingrowns in the same area, same place, there's some scar tissue there somewhere. Which is the reason why the hair is not coming up out of the follicle like the rest of the hair is. You got to think about that. When you start thinking about thickness of skin, you start thinking about how the hair is, if it's turning back onto itself or if it's just trapped because it can't get out. You have to understand those differences, which is why I come back to the difference between a razor bump and an ingrown. A lot of us don't know that difference. A razor bump, the hair is actually already out of the follicle. It is just causing irritation and itchiness to the skin next to it, causing the skin to bump up. Absolutely. So when you have that understanding and then you talk about the reasons why you pick your client's ingrown, I can't really get on board with it because there's other ways of helping to treat the ingrown. A lot of it has to do with our clients and educating and conversation. So do we talk to our clients about ingrowns? And it was funny because I was just in Boston last week and I had multiple meetings and all of that. And, I did trainings. I did trainings at Catherine Hines. I did trainings at some other places. And, the big conversation right now about ingrowns is the lack of education. Not realizing that clients can get ingrowns with shaving and with waxing. So if you don't understand what shaving is, or you don't understand the different types of hair removal, we had a great conversation at Catherine Hines about shavers, because a lot of people don't know that if you have a client who's shaving for whatever reason, whether it's their bikini line, it's their face if they're men, or if it's their legs and they're getting ingrowns, you need to go down to the actual basic. What exactly is the client using to shave? Are they using a double blade, a triple blade, a quad, the 5-blade? Are they using a gel or are they using a cream? Are they using alcohol prior to? Are they using alcohol post? You have to understand that type of hair removal when you start talking about people who have problems with it. And it's not just giving them home care. It's talking about the entire process. Especially when you start talking about men and you start talking about shaving, you start talking about their blades, you start talking about if they wash their face, you start talking about how often they shave. Those are all things that you got to keep in mind when you start talking about shavers. We're quick to say, oh, you need to buy this product and use it at home every day. But we don't talk about the actual shaving. which is why I'm a big fan of, especially because, you know, I offer men's facials, is really explaining, and you're right, absolutely. The more blades you have, the more problems you're going to get. First and second blade are going to cut hair. Third blade is going to drag skin. Fourth blade is dragging skin. Fifth blade is dragging skin. So you're basically dragging skin into that follicle. And then if you don't wash your face before you shave, you're dragging dirty skin into that follicle. If you don't change your razor every time you shave, you're adding bacteria, dead skin, and everything else into that follicle. So if you don't really understand it in that manner, it's, for me, easier to explain the reasons why and what they're doing to cause them than to just give them a product to take home and say, this is what's going to help it. So if you don't understand the totality of it all, it becomes an ever-ending, it never ends. It's very cyclical. They're always getting them. And especially with men, men are lazy, okay? I'm going to say it straight out, honey, I love you, you know I do, but men are very lazy. They will reuse blades. They won't wash their face. You know, some of them will use the blades for their face and for their head. You know, so if you start talking about, and we'll come back to the underarm shaving for sure. When you start talking about men and understanding the shaving protocol and what they should be doing versus what they are doing, then it becomes very simple to say, okay, let's start with your shaving protocol and then add in this hair ingrown treatment product. Because if you add in the product and you don't talk about the shaving part of it, it's going to continue. That's why I said, what was it? Maybe 4 periscopes ago, I talked about, do you know the differences of hair removal? Laser versus shaving versus tweezing versus threading versus electrolysis. Do you know all of those things? Because the more you know, the more you can come back and talk to your client and say, this is where I want you to go. And I've always been a fan of double blades for men. My husband shaves with double blades. Baby, you shave with double blades? Or do you shave with triple blades? I think it shaves double. But anyway, I've always been a fan of double blades because the second blade is always going to get a closer cut. Once you get past 2 blades and you're on to 3, we're dragging skin. And if you're lazy and you don't change your razor, you're dragging skin and bacteria. If you're lazy and don't wash your face before, you're letting bacteria and everything else into that pore. So you really got to understand the whole ingrown thing versus the hair removal thing. Then when you have clients who wax and who pick at home, or clients who wax and then they tweeze themselves at home. I've had clients who have waxed with me before who take scissors and cut when it starts to become bristly. How often should you change razors? Every time you shave, you should have a new razor. So you have, you know, all of these different things that people can do at home, but you don't never know what they do at home because a lot of them don't say what they do at home unless you ask them. You know, whenever I wax someone brand new, especially if they have ingrowns, I can tell right away if they're picking them. It makes waxing look a lot cheaper. Absolutely. I can also tell if they are self-inflicting themselves, whether it's their face or any place else. A lot of clients want to be home doctors. So once I get down to the bottom of that, you pick your ingrowns. How often do you pick your ingrowns? Or how often are you scrubbing your ingrowns? How often are you using your ingrown treatment at home? Once I can get past those questions, then I can begin to understand the psychological aspect of the client. Because there's some clients who you know will follow exactly what you tell them to do to the T. Then you have other clients who think they know and will overuse their products and then be upset because they're not getting this response that they should have had they followed the directions you give them in the beginning. So you got to know the psyche of your clients. I had one girl who would lie. I kid you not. When I say lie, I mean lie. She came in and would have pick marks all over her face. At least 100. At least 100. I would lay her down on the bed and I'd do just like this. Honey, is there something going on with you right now? Are you stressed out? Is there, you know, family situations? What's going on? Oh, nothing, you know, nothing out of the ordinary. So what day did you decide to come home and pick on your skin? I'm not really sure what you're talking about. I've been fine. I've been following what you said and I've been doing everything. What day did you decide to pick on your skin? What day was stressful for you? And then she just, yeah, I'm not really sure what you're speaking about. And see, when I get that question and response, you know me, I gotta go real. Did skeeters have a fiesta on your face? Did some mosquitoes? Did you walk into a pond? Did you go into a mosquito? Why did you pick on your face today? And then you get, I had all these little bumps all over my face, and I had to get them. They were looking at me back in the mirror. I just had to push on them. I couldn't help it. How many times did you do this? Well, they all came up at different times. Every day. Every day. So, this is what we're going to do. Nothing. I'm going to wash your face. I'm going to put you under some steam. I'm not even going to enzyme you because you're not going to be able to tolerate it. And I'm going to do a nice hydration mask. And then that's all we're going to do today. But I need extractions. No, you did extractions on your own. You know? So then you get the, well, you know, I was expecting, you know, for us to have some, you know, I thought you were going to go real deep and, you know, get the little heads out. No, honey, you did it yourself. I'm going to put a little hydration on you and a little mask. And that's it. And the reason I say that story is because a lot of us don't understand it is the psychological aspect to a lot of clients, especially if they have problem skin or problematic skin. They don't really understand that we know what they do at home. And people are obsessed with extractions because we're obsessed with extractions. We're always upset with extractions. We love extractions. We would absolutely extract all day long. Dr. Pimple Popper. I love sitting there watching her pick all this stuff. I even told Angela, I said I should have went back to medical school so I could be popping zits like this with needles and knives. I said, because this right here is just... Then we get to the over popping esthetician who pops everybody. And I never really understood that you got cussed out on the clinic for refusing to do them on a class. You got cussed out from the client because you didn't do extractions? And what did you say back to her? See, me, probably in that situation, I'd have been like, okay, we done went to the cussing. Come on in here, honey. Let me go ahead and do some extractions. I need to put a little bit of peel on you before we get started. I'd have burnt her ass up. That's just me. I'm getting better about that kind of feelings, you know. I'm getting better about being, you know, mean like that. But I would have. And her skin was flawless. See, and you know what? That I've had those kind of clients. I've had 2 in my career that have had flawless skin and have asked. I have this one lady, I will never, ever, ever forget her. Skinny as a rail. Skin tight. She had to be in her maybe late 50s, early 60s. She would get a erbium peel every 6 months. And if those of you who know what erbium is only at doctors. And I mean, they peel 20, 25, almost 30 layers of skin off. Like you're down. You're not even outside. You are down for like 2 weeks. So she would have an erbium peel every 6 months. And would come to me because she looked up my LED, obviously. And with LED and the kind of LED that I have and the peels, and the chemical peels, it does speed up the healing process, okay? So she would come in and just get LED the first 2 times. And then after that, we would add the Glymed ultrasound, which she looked up as well, because that would help get the dead skin off faster because there was no scraping. It was just water. And then we would do the LED. Her skin, when I say flawless, is absolutely beautiful and flawless. Nothing wrong with it. She doesn't even need the Arabian pierce. She didn't really need anything. But she was obsessed. I mean, every time I saw her, she'd come in and have her, you know, her hair is out and had that big wide brim hat that you can keep your hair out. Whole face just brown and crackly. And she'd lift up the visor and be like, "Hi, Stephanie, you know why I'm here?" You did another one? It was time. It was time. I needed, you know, my fine lines. The doctor did they did the extra erbium right around the eyes. Then she went from erbium to the laser peel. And I can't remember what the laser peel, it was. I don't know if it was a CO peel that she got or it was a laser resurfacing peel that she had. I just look at her. I mean, I took her money, but I would just look at her and say, "Why are you doing this to yourself? I'm confused. You have such gorgeous skin." Then you have the other ones that have gorgeous skin, but they're, "Oh, my skin is just horrible. What can you do to help me?" There's been another client, I told her, I said, "Honey, I'm confused. Do I need to get a mirror out? What, or do you see the same thing I see? What do you want me to do?" "Well, I around my eyes, I want that to be a little bit tighter. You know, I have some little lines around here." I can massage and manipulate, but I like your skin. That's what I've said to her all the time. I love your skin. I love it. Why don't you like it? We're going to talk about Botox in this conversation too. I'm just like, why don't you like your skin? I love your skin. What's wrong with it? "No, you're just saying that." "No, I'm really serious. What is wrong? What? Well, I want the, and of course, they're always the ones that want the 250. And you know, the 250 facial is always my, like, "You do?" You know, I get all giddy. "You do?" Especially when they got cash, you know, so I'll be like, okay, whatever. So anyway, let's go on to the next question that we had there. We are going to talk about Botox because Botox is happening in one of the groups right now. And that's getting into a very heated discussion, which I'm laughing about because a lot of people don't really understand Botox either. I could be a comedian. Oh, thank you. What was the other question? There's one more that I asked. It was micro and peel. It was Ingrowns. It was this is the one. When was the last time you did a test patch for your lash and brow tinting clients, especially the sensitive ones? Please explain. A lot of people don't. And the sad thing about this right here is that test patches would save us so much headache. It really would. Especially for the clients that you already know that are sensitive. You should be test patching them. Because here's the thing. Even if they've had it done with another line, or even if they've had it done with another skincare line, it would definitely be something that you would need to test patch. Test patch typically will happen in the back of the ear right here. You put it on and let them sit and don't wash this area for 48 hours. If it itches within the first 24, then they're reactive. There's nothing. If they don't itch and it's fine, then you're good to go. But the thing about test patching is that gives you an out that you actually tested the product prior to applying to brow or lash. So I did inner elbow for a few people, but my sensitive people, I actually will go onto their face. I go closer to where exactly they're sensitive, because I've had some people who have never reacted to anything on the elbow or the arm. And then when I put it on the back of the ear, they have reacted. And the reason I like the back of the ear is because even those people who are super sensitive to hair color, that is also typically along the hairline is where most people react. And that's how you know that they're sensitive to whatever dye you're going to use. But a lot of us don't test patch. And a lot of us don't test patch because of the fact we're lazy. And that's really what it comes down to. You cannot assume every person that lays into your bed will not react to anything you put on their skin. All it takes is one. What if your owner won't allow time for test patching? Do you tell the owner, does the owner want to lose their business? You're scared the client will walk away. Yes. What kind of reaction are you looking for? Itchiness, is the big one. Red and puffy is also. You do behind the ear even if you attempt to apply airbrush. Thank you, Tiffany. Clients can sue big time because right now FDA has not approved any eyelash tint or eyebrow tint. It is not on the FDA list. So they could sue you for everything you got if they react. So you got to cover yourself. Some insurances don't even cover tinting, even though it's legal because the FDA hasn't approved the dye. So like I said, a lot of us don't know, but we do these things thinking that everybody that comes in can be fine or everything that we use can be legal. That's not necessarily true. Do we still do it? Oh, all the time. It's not legal in California. No, it's not. And estheticians and cosmetologists lost the ability to do tinting even on their clients, even though they dye hair as of last year. So when you know these things and you understand this, then you understand why you should test patch. I actually did test patches for peels for my sensitive clients too, especially the ones that wanted to do Jesners. I did test patch for, and I only left it on for a minute, but I looked at it and to see if they were going to be reactive. Because part of the problem is with a lot of us is test patching is not necessarily for the client. It's more for you. You need to know if the client's going to react. You really do. And if they're already saying that they're reactive, that's even more of a reason to test them, especially when you start talking about the eyes. I will never forget, I always, and this is from the teachers at the school, always told me to use boric acid. Boric acid is also in a lot of the contact solutions. We actually had my instructor when we were allowed to do it, and this was years ago because they've taken it away, but she would have us make up our own boric acid solution to put on so that we could rinse the eye out when we were doing tinting. And boric acid is in contact solution. Test the Jesner. It depends on what kind of Jesner. I would still do the same, but I'd only leave it on for like a minute, and then they have a solution depending on what kind of Jesner you're going to use. I've had 2 different companies I've used Jesners for. Some have had resorcinol in it, some have not. So that's don't they use that to kill roaches? Boric acid, yes, darling. But no, you're not thinking of boric acid. But yeah, you are thinking of boric acid, but not it's the borac, B-O-R-A-C, and the boric acid that I'm using is B-O-R-I-C. But it is, thank you, borax, thank you. But boric acid is in eye contact solutions. So I always kept on hand the sensitive eye contact solution, and you can buy this really cheap. It's like $2 for a big old jug like this, and it squirts, and then I would just be able to rinse out people's eyes. And that's a great thing to have on hand anyway. If you ever get some peel solution in their eyes, if you ever get any enzyme in a client's eyes, or you get anything in a client's eyes, you always want to keep an eye wash, and that's what I keep on hand, especially for my sensitive people or my clients that wear contacts and something splashes onto their contact and they get to doing this. I keep that on hand. But you gotta know what you're doing. Using Jesner on intimate areas. T Ward, please give me the definition of what a Jesner is, and that'll definitely give me a little bit of insight onto where you're at. Thank you. Boric acid does come in powder. You can dilute it with water. Absolutely. And Life by Angie asked the same question. Give me the definition of what a Jesner is and the ingredients of a Jesner peel. And that's going to explain a lot for me to understand where you are and why you're asking that question. We hit someone talked about what insurance I recommend. Always ASCP. I always recommend ASCP. They're the best out there. They cover Brazilians, of course. So ASCP, anytime you do that, tell them I recommend to you. For Botox. So Botox right now is getting a whole lot of play, right? In one of the groups we're having a conversation, people say, do you like Botox? Do you suggest Botox for people? Blah, blah, blah. A lot of us, I saw that, Ange, I did. Look, did you use me as a reference? A lot of people don't really realize what Botox is. Does anyone know what Botox is? Oh, thank you, love. Does anyone know what Botox is? I ain't got my green drink today. I ran out of my green drink. Got to do my water. Does anyone know what the ingredients of Botox is? Botox is not a filler, no. It is a poison. Botulism, absolutely. I know. What's in the green drink? My green drink? Everything green. Everything green. You've asked companies because looking at companies' website does full body waxing for men, and they said what? T Ward, what? Full body waxing for men for Jessners? What? I need you to run that back. Run it back. Causes inflammation. Botox, no. On the website, they say they used it. On whose website? And for what? What purpose would you use a Jessner on skin? I'm confused. And see, that's another thing. L. Curly, you got to get all of it. Jessner is all three. Glide, lactic, sal. Some has resorcinol, some does not. But it's also the percentages. See, and Angela, you may need to have a periscope discussing Jessners. When do you use a Jessner? When you don't use a Jessner. Jessners have nothing to do with evening skin tone, Golden. I need you to know about Jessners too. That's why you have to use inhibitors when you do Jessners. It's not about evening skin tone. It's about exfoliation and releasing multiple layers of skin at one time. I would hate to see someone do Jessners on that. Thank you, Ange. What's the pills that have the gly in it for the Jessner? The glycolic. And maybe that's the one I use, but that was under a doctor. Maybe that's the classic Jessner. Thank you. See, I got my train of thought messed up because I was on my Botox and now we done got back to Jessners. And you may have to do a Jessner periscope. And yes, modified. We have modified Jessners and non-modified Jessners. Botox is absolutely botulism. A lot of people don't realize Botox has not been out on the market long enough and does not have enough research, in my opinion. Thank you. But Botox is a paralyzing agent. We remember the Black Plague that came out back 1500s that took out millions of people. Basically, it paralyzes every muscle. Our heart is a muscle, right? The research that's going on now, if you've been reading a lot of stuff, is saying that Botox is moving. Once it's at an injection site, it moves away from the injection site. So we think that the body is absorbing it, which is why we think we need more, but it's actually moving into different cavities and orifices of our body. Some people have Botox in the brain. Sometimes people are finding Botox in their joints. Some people are finding them in their passages. The next thing you're going to see is that Botox has made it into someone's lung or someone's heart. In my opinion, and this is in my opinion, Botox is an instant gratification, obviously. But there is not enough research on the side effects of it because it hasn't been out long enough to show the true side effects of it. Am I a fan? No. Do I need it? No. Have I talked to people who use it? Absolutely. Do I have clients that use it? Absolutely. I worked for the doctor. The doctor injected Botox all day long. She started going down into the hands, the feet, and the underarms and started talking about it for excessive sweating. It is not something that we have enough research on. It is not something that I openly discuss with clients as a positive. What I do discuss with them is its origin, where it came from, and that there is not enough scientific fact on the long-term side effects of it. So for the fact that a lot of this information that you can research openly on Google is saying that it is moving, or we say that it's absorbing, which is why we need more at the contact site. What a lot of researchers and scientists are saying, that it is moving out of the contact site and is moving into other places of the body, which to me is scary beyond anything that I could ever imagine. Restylane, Juvederm, all of those again. And I believe Juvederm is a hyaluronic acid based filler. It is not a natural hyaluronic acid. It is an artificial hyaluronic acid that's injected into the body. But you got to understand, when you start talking about this something, you got to understand what exactly it is. And for me, for the fact that researchers are finding it in other body parts or any other places of the body outside of the injection point, is scary. Because what if it does go to the eye? Hi, Stink. Go eat. Okay. Did you wash your hands? Yeah. Okay. So, you know, derms are doing Botox parties. I mean, I had the doctor that, I mean, let's be real. She was making money. 100 cc bottles, she would make at least $1,000 or $2,000 off that 100 cc's. I mean, it's a huge markup. They make money. But again, if you don't understand Nip Tuck, honey, yes, Nip Tuck, I love that show too. If you don't understand it, it's easy for us to say, oh yeah, go try it. And there are a lot of people that try it. There are a lot of people that love it. But I like to sit back and just look to see, okay, well, what are the side effects? What is it going to do in the body long term? You know, where is it going to go? Because here's the thing. Anything you inject into your body does not absorb into your body and become nothing. That's what we don't understand. You put it into your body and it's artificial. It needs to go somewhere. It doesn't absorb and become skin tissue. It doesn't absorb and become blood. It doesn't absorb and become muscle. No, this is a foreign object. So it has to find somewhere to go. So, you know, it's a bigger thing than just coming in and saying, I want some CCs here. I want to paralyze this. I want this to be lifted. I want to go all into here. That's fine. But over time, it's going somewhere. It's leaving the origin site or the injection site, and it's moving through your body. It's not pooped out. It's absorbed, but it's absorbed in its same state. You know, I don't know where the liability is going to fall. I have no idea. I'm just waiting and looking. I'm waiting for someone to really finally come out and say that it's still in the body. So, you know, we had one lady, and I'll never forget her. She always wanted all these CCs. I want 20 CCs in my forehead. I need to have 15 on each side of my eye. I need to have 14 coming down in my laugh line. And I want to just take, you know what? How much is a whole bottle? Why don't you just go get plastic surgery if you want all that? Just go get nipped and tucked. Get snipped. Oh, absolutely. There'll be a late infomercial with a little blue background. Were you the recipient of Botox from the years of 2000 all the way to 2020? You may be compensated for some money. Please call the law office. Lost my phone. I'm laughing too hard. But that's how it is. That's usually what it winds up being, right? Yeah. But no, I mean, that's the thing. You know, there's big controversy about it, big conversations about it. A lot of people are, you know, in all over it and love it. And then there's some people who are just kind of like myself. There's not enough research out for it. The body absorbs it, but it is a foreign body. So it has to find a home. And that home may not be where I want it to be. And it may affect other things. And that's the thing. If you understand anatomy, we have tissue, we have muscle, we have blood, and then we have lymph. Then we have water. Botox is none of these. So it can't be absorbed into the body and become one of these. It doesn't work like that. It's going to stay as it is. The problem is where is it going to go? What is it going to affect? That's my thing. And that's anything with fillers. That's anything with Botox. Anything that you inject into your body. Especially if it's foreign, will stay foreign. It doesn't turn into any of these 5 things. It doesn't magically one day and say, poof, I'm going to be tissue now. No, it doesn't work like that. But we're so just and closed-minded, and we don't want to be open about information. And that's why I say you really got to take your time on that one. You know, I mean, what happened to the days of getting a facelift? Facelift ain't hurt nobody. And they got new little things too. I saw it on an infomercial late at night where they do, you know, they do the little snip and then snip and lift. And they do a little snip and lift behind your thing. And then it's then turned into like a little one day in and out thing. You know, and they had a little neck. They had a little lady that had a little neck right here. And then she went and got it done and it sucked up the neck. I said, well, dang. They done come a long way from peeling your face off. I saw that back in junior high. And, you know, they cut all along that frown line, honey, and peel your face down and then stretch it up and then take it back. Cutting is taboo. And I don't understand. Cutting ain't never hurt nobody. Cutting, you know. But anyway, I digress. So we've had some great conversation about everything under the sun. The one thing I didn't ask, which I will probably bring up this weekend before I go to the show, will be about, you know, surgeries. People who have had reconstructive surgery, whether it be a tummy tuck, whether it be labiaplasty, whether it be vaginal tightening, any of those things, and then they are still your client. How do you treat them? And a lot of us don't realize that post-surgery, even post-surgery baby C-section, even post-surgery with someone who's had natural birth, is a whole different ball game. You got to treat them very different than you would before they had it. You know, and I've had the opportunity to have clients that have had tummy tucks, you know, C-section. I've had a C-section, who've had labiaplasty, who've had a reconstruction. And it wasn't just vaginal tightening. It was because the bladder was falling into the vagina. So they've had complete reconstruction done in that area to not only, you know, keep everything from falling into the vagina, but also to keep it so that it was where it's at. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's happening now, especially with women, that we have the option to get elective surgery or necessity surgery that you got to be aware of when you start talking to people, especially when you start doing waxing and you're doing all these kind of things in that area. You got to know. You got to know. You know, someone asked a question about, you know, pregnancy and waxing, which is great. And I'm a big fan, you know, yeah, get waxed. However, if I didn't know you before you were pregnant and you come to me, I don't really know what you're about. I can do it, but I'm going to have some anxiety about it. I'd rather know you when you're pregnant or when you're not pregnant. And then when you get pregnant, we can still keep, you know, rocking and rolling. And then, you know, some women are just super sensitive and you never know. You know, pregnancy just changes everything. Pregnancy changes the ball game in skincare, waxing, how you react, bruising, you know, temperament, body temperature, everything changes when you're pregnant. But we have to know and recognize that. We just really do. It's been really interesting, guys. I'm getting ready to sign off. I will see those of you who are in Dallas. I will see you this coming weekend, Sunday and Monday. I don't know why. I don't know what my booth is. But anyway, go ahead and follow me. I will be doing some periscopes. I'll also be doing live on my Facebook page from the show floor like I usually do. I have a class on Monday. I have no class on Sunday. I will be in Dallas all next week, so I'll be doing my periscopes from my Dallas house. So that'll be fun as well. You know, it's a little bit more quieter than over here. You know, we got today a lot of church people been calling. So you got the church people and then you have everybody going outside and then the alarms and all that. Yes. So anyway, it's been very interesting. I'm going to sign off. Those of you guys who are in my group, we're going to keep chatting. If you're not in my Smooth Skin Supply Wax Chat group, please check us out. If you're looking for any kind of wax training or signing up for any of my classes online, go to stephaniellaynes.com. If you're looking for any of our products and supplies, you can always visit our website, www.smoothskinsupply.com. And then our storefront should be open. Like I said, we're having our grand opening on June 5th, which is a Sunday. Will be open from 9 to 5. And we're excited about kicking off that for our Dallas people. We have a lot of people who are excited about coming out and, you know, buying stuff and being able to walk in and all that great stuff. All right. So guys, have a great night. Keep up the good work. I will see you on Sunday live from the show in Dallas. Okay. Bye.